So this week I'm talking with Carl Lee. Carl is a nationally touring headliner who's settled down in Medford, Oregon. He still tours from time to time, but his main gig is running the show at a place called Chadwick's Pub every Friday and Saturday night. Chadwick's is located inside the Regency, the Rogue Regency Hotel. It's a beautiful place, and it's a great club. And every time I appear there, it's sold out. And the reason it's sold out every time I appear there is because it's sold out every weekend. And one of the main reasons for that is Carl Lee. He has the authority to run the club and runs it well. And he does the most, what I consider to be, along with the headliner, the most important job in the show. He hosts the show and sets it up for everybody else, and kills every time. Just kills. And has different material every time I see him, does topical stuff, riffs with the crowd. And it's a great show. If you're in Medford, Oregon on a Friday, Saturday night, get your tickets early for Chadwick's, because like I said, it's always sold out as far as I know. So anyway, let's talk to Carl Lee.
Hanging out with four white women, cool as hell. They were fun, enjoyed their company, hanging out with them. And when the night wrapped up, they wanted to give me hugs goodbye. One of them said, "I can't give you a hug goodbye because my husband said, don't come home and smell like a black guy." First of all, I didn't even know that Negroes had their own scent. Second of all, you better make sure you don't come home looking like this guy banged by a black guy. You don't want to come home looking like you on a unicycle. Yeah. When you start riding this little unicycle,
All right. Are you there?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. All right. Carl Lee.
That's right.
You're a funny dude, man.
Man, I thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that, man, because I remember when I was coming up and you were one of the cats that I used to open for. Remember,
Well, you were always the host. I mean, in Medford, you're always the host.
Yeah.
Man, and you did such a great job, and you always had new material. I was really, really impressed. And
thank you.
Yeah. And but you started complimenting me, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, yes. But it's always, because it's rare to come up and appreciate it and work with guys who've been in the business like you as long as I have, and you guys are so cool and so welcoming, and know how to give feedback in a positive way. Because I just remember coming across headliners that was like, man, that dude was a dickhead. Like,
started in Carolina?
I started in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said Carolina, coming up in Carolina.
Oh. No, I started in La Crosse, Wisconsin when I was in college.
Oh, okay. No, who was a dickhead? Well, I missed that. I got busy. I realized I didn't have my head earplug plugged in, so I was plugging it in while you were talking.
Yeah, just coming across, when you fresh in the game, and you working with headliners who are just dickheads.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And just coming off resentful and bitter and just judgmental.
Well, you caught me after I got over my bitterness.
Did I? Or before you got to it?
I've been in it so long. I got over my bitterness.
Yeah. As I hear you.
Yeah, but seriously, man, I was just watching some of your videos, and how long you been doing it? How long?
I started in 97.
97. Okay, so it's 14 years. 24 years.
Yeah. I was like, what kind of calculator you use?
Using my mind.
He's a reverse calculator.
I'm using my head. So yeah, you've been doing it 24 years, man, and you're a total pro, and I've always been impressed because I come in there and I headline, but you do 15 minutes up
Mhm.
front, and it's always different material. I never hear you repeat. Every time I come through town, you're doing a different 15, and it's always killing.
Yeah.
Halloween, we just had Halloween. You know what I did? I decorated my house on Halloween. I put up 8 white sheeted ghosts. All of my yard, I hung 8 white sheeted ghost trees. My white neighbor came over, Carl, what's this shit? I said, it's called reverse racism with a little bit of passive aggressive. Now get out of my yard. I ain't even have a gun. I just said.
And that was one of my biggest lessons coming up, was working with comics. And I recall it was like Danny Bevins
Right?
and BT, Kevin
Right.
Boatman.
Yeah.
Those guys used to teach me, used to get on me about making sure you write. Like, cause when I came up, one nighters was all I knew, because there was a one nighter. Because back then, you had the Yoders, you had the Ken Mullers, and you had the Tribbles, you had so many one nighter bookers. And so when I was in my college town, there was a hotel gig like mine.
Right.
And I used to go there and I befriended a guy named Sparkman.
Okay.
And Sparkman used to come through and do Wisconsin runs like La Crosse, Eau Claire, Wausau, little spots like that one nighter. And he used to take me with him and just give me 5 minutes here and there. And
Okay.
so I came up just knowing one nighters, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so then he introduced me to BT, who was his best friend. But BT was doing A and B rooms.
Right.
And I started to learn from BT, like, oh, the improvs, the funny bones,
Right.
the loony bins. I started like, oh. So I started, wanting to work my way into that, because I got a little taste. The first taste of comedy club I got was in Acme in Minneapolis,
Okay.
which was hot.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've never worked that room, but I've always heard really good things.
I
Yeah.
did my first open mic back in '97. I did open mic and I got 3 minutes, and it was a hot comedy club, but I still didn't understand comedy clubs. You know what I mean? Didn't understand what that was. So then I left Wisconsin. I went to Arizona, and then I started doing open mic at the Tempe Improv, and little comedy clubs like Rascals came to Phoenix. So I got a chance to work Rascal. And then I was doing little casino gigs in Arizona through Tribble and
Yeah.
little things like that. So I started getting a taste for it. But then when I learned from BT about getting into these A and B rooms, and so what I did was, back then you would back up a VHS,
Yeah, you've been
put it
around
in
long
there,
enough for
book,
that.
and send it off, and then you go to, and then but when you get booked, you realize he never opened your package when he booked you. You see your package, and they're like, oh, okay. But so
Yeah.
and I was so hungry and so ready. I never forget my first road trip was, I think, 99 or 2000. I caught a Greyhound bus from Arizona to Devil's Lake, North Dakota,
Right.
just for
Yeah.
$200.
Yeah. Yeah.
$200. But I was so passionate and I wanted it so bad, because going back to when I was hosting, we had some nice little comedy spots in Tempe, Arizona, because that's the college town.
Right.
So we used to set up shop at this one place called actually it was called the Acme too. Actually, it was a college spot right down the street from Arizona State, and in Arizona, the Phoenix scene was popping, man. It was a lot of good comedy out there, and I was like, oh my god, little bars here, little spots here. I was like, this is crazy. Casinos out there in Prescott, and then you had Flagstaff, the school out there was letting us local comics come out there and put on a show, and we would get paid like $1,000 which probably was nothing for a college. You know what I mean? Like Northern Arizona University. And so what I did was I used to always host that open mic night, and we had about 10 guys on the lineup, different 10 guys every Sunday. And most guys was thinking, I want to close the show. I want to be the headline. They never wanted to be in my show. I said, I'll host.
Right.
I said, fine, I'll host. And so I used to host every Sunday, and unconsciously, not knowing, all I'm doing is getting better.
That's right.
All I was doing was getting better. And then when time came, when BT was introducing me to club bookers, I was getting in these clubs. But what some of these clubs asked me to do, you had club like the Looney Bin. He owned like 4 of them. So right. He would ask me, well, come in and host, and then we'll see about bump you up. So I would do a few runs a year with them, but just hosting. Going from Tulsa, going from Wichita, going from Little Rock, going from Oklahoma City, just hosting. You know, it was only how much you get for that week, probably $250 for that week, but I had a condo. You know what I'm saying? And I did that, and I just kept using that to my advantage. And I never forget when I got booked in Appleton, Wisconsin at the Skyline, and I was working with comedian Danny Bevins, and he told me each time I go up hosting this week, do something different each time, so they can see that I have that material to come back and feature. And that never left me.
Just because it's not just comic watching, this feature is the middle spot. MC is usually 10 to 15 minutes, features 25 to 30, headliner 45 to an hour.
Yeah.
And let me just interject this too, because I sometimes I feel like I do these videos for my sister, because she's the one that critiques me every video I do.
Nice.
And is very supportive. But a lot of times she goes, well, yeah, I don't know a lot of these guys people are talking about. So if you hear a name like Danny Bevins or BT or something like that, and you're watching this,
Evan Bozeman, look him up.
Google him. Yeah, Google him. These are all working comics, and check him out, because just because somebody isn't world famous doesn't mean that they're not good, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's exactly why I'm doing this, why I like this series, and why I like having you on. Because I'll be honest with you, man, I used to think I was the most underrated comic in America until I saw you. And now I think you're the most underrated comic, because you're funny as hell, man.
Do you know so many guys have been telling me that?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, man. So I hear a lot of, guys who are truly beasts out there, still doing A-rooms, cruise ships, whatever, and they tell me like, man, you like, people need to know who you are.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I was just watching a couple of your videos, and I wish you had more videos online.
This girl said, where you from? I said, Virginia. She looked right in my face like, where's that? On a map, bitch. On Earth. Somebody built geometry. I know. She don't even know her states. I know. Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm gonna load more up, because I'm actually just got to start recording them.
Right.
And so and what people don't know is about Chadwick's, how that came about was.
Okay, Chadwick's, again, for those that don't know, Chadwick's is a club in Medford, Oregon. They've been doing comedy forever.
It's 05.
This is 05.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been going, I was there before you were emceeing.
Well, because what it is what I did was, I was living in Arizona and I was doing an Oregon run. And I met the young lady, my kid's mom. I met her out here back in like 03, 04. And so I came, and I would come in town, and then at that time, my kid's mom was a waitress at Chadwick's before comedy. And so they asked me, would I be willing to get comedy started? And I was like, yeah.
I didn't know that you actually started the room, but you were touring at the time, and then you came in and you did it full time. And to me, that's always been the prime way, in my opinion, to learn the craft is to host the show.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it on a regular basis, you're forced to come up with new material because you get
Boy.
people returning every week. There's different headliners and different features, but you're the same host every week, so you got to come up with new material.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you have the freedom to do 5 minutes, or you have the freedom to do 15 minutes.
Or if somebody don't show up.
Exactly.
Yeah, somebody got stuck in a snowstorm, couldn't get past the Siskiyous or the pass or something. So it was like, oh snap, let me middle or let me close.
Yeah. So I mean, you've basically explained better, I think, than anybody so far, including myself, in this small series I've done, about determination and what it takes. Like taking the bus from Arizona to North Dakota, and for $200. You're losing money, but you're getting the experience and you're getting the stage time.
Yeah, I did. I got experience. I got the stage time. I got to understand what it meant to be a road comic.
Exactly.
And you're not pulling up at the Tampa Bay Improv, staying at a nice hotel Wednesday through Sunday.
Right.
It was like you're jumping in the car, driving another 4 hours, driving another 5 hours. You're doing that, and then you connect with guys, and you share rides, you share gas.
Yeah, it's not easy living. It's work, and it's determination, and you do it because it's a passion, and you figure it out. That's how you learn. Is you don't turn any work down, as long as they aren't not beating down your door up in the price. You don't turn any work down.
Yeah, exactly. Because when I was coming up, I was so grateful for that period. Like I said, the one-nighters were killer.
Right.
The one-nighters, like I said, Ken Muller and David Tribble and God, so many of them. Yoder. Gosh, it was so many of them back in the Midwest. The Midwest had the one-nighters on lock. You can go through Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, and just kill it. You can make that return trip every year, go back and kill it and get your chops tight, because you're not because it's funny because you spend so much time doing Idaho Falls. You know what I'm saying? You're doing, what is it called, the Peppermint Lounge type of shows.
Yeah.
And you getting all this heckling and you're getting all this, you just like, what the heck? And you don't even realize over the period of time, it don't even bother you anymore because you're so much more stronger.
Right.
And then when you go into an A room and you just say something, you like,
yeah. People are actually paying attention. And you can do a look. You can do a look and get a big laugh.
Yes. And it was amazing, man, when I started to break into those rooms, because what I did was BT connected me with the Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio. And what I did was, the booker at that time was Dave Stroop. And Dave used to have audition nights. So I jumped on the bus. I don't know where I came from. Probably because I was born and raised in Virginia. So a lot of times I would be taking opportunities to be back. I would be on that side of the country performing. So I'd be staying with my mom or whatever. But I will never forget, jumped on the bus again. And my cousin was living in Columbus at the time, which was like perfect. So I stayed with him and I went in there and auditioned. So I did what was called Apollo night. You know what I mean? It was Apollo night. Yeah. And then it switched. Then it was like a mainstream night, which I was with the Apollo night. I was with some BET comics who had great beat reputation. And then the second time, that second show that night was mainstream. I was with the Tennessee Tramp.
Uh-huh.
So I go in front of this predominantly black crowd, and I go in front of this predominantly white crowd. And Dave got to see, like, man, you can do it all. And as soon as I got done at night, he took me in the back and just filled up my calendar with Funny Bones and improv. I was like, and so here I am now. I'm working with Monique, Dave Chappelle, D.L. Higgins, all them. And so now you're going into these improv of Funny Bone. It's like a whole nother level. And that's when I really got that taste for it. I was like, man, because I was doing some nice comedy clubs, but when I got into them funny bones and improv, I was like, this is this is this is real.
Yeah, serious business, serious comedy. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like watching you know, the caliber of people, the caliber of the lifestyle that Monique and Bill Bellamy, all them guys had, and this the way they was being treated from management and all that. It was just like, this is real. Like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And John Panette, he was probably my favorite one that I worked with. He was probably one that like who showed me my worth and
yeah,
just really was amazed by me and really appreciated me because he I gave him a tag that week and he used it that week. Then after we were done working, he did a HBO a Comedy Central special and he used that freaking tag on that damn Comedy Central special. And I was like, yeah, and it was one of them things too when he was continuing to use me as his opener, but he got sick
oh,
because
yeah,
he passed away not too
right.
long ago. Yeah, he
Yeah.
got sick. So and those moments like that, being in those A rooms and working with them, they showed me my worth.
You
And it's
remember,
just like
you remember
you
the
can't,
tag?
yeah, you can't always get into them rooms because trust me, just because he was able to fill up my calendar for a few months, he got other guys he got to fill. You know what I mean? So it's one of
Oh,
them
yeah.
things you got to roll with. All right, so I did like 5 improv in a row. Guess I can go back to these one nighters.
Well, it's a constant battle getting work.
It is.
Unless unless you get to the point where you got a name that just draws people, and there's very few. That's like getting into the NBA, or NFL.
Yeah, I think if somebody was, and I was just having that discussion with somebody that's just about that, the chances of that.
Right,
I mean,
right, and staying there and having to stay.
yeah, and staying there.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Very few people. Very few people. Let's just say there's very few spots.
Very few spots. That's
There's
a
a
good
lot
way
of
to
funny
put it.
people, but there's very few spots at the
Very
top.
few spots. Yep. Because when you just said about, BT, Kevin Bozeman, and Danny Bevins, those guys, man, they've had some opportunities. They had some great moments from everything from Kevin Bozeman being on Last Comic Standing, making it to the final, to BT having a TV show on Sci-Fi. Danny Bevins been, it's like they've all had that, but it's just like, how did they get had they that last hurdle? Like, oh man, so they still want it.
And yeah, and the other point that I again that I'm looking for, not looking for, I have a niche with this series, and I've always had this idea for a long time that I want to talk to the funniest, the most talented people you've never heard of,
So many.
that are really hilarious and really talented, like yourself,
Thank you.
that are not, internationally or nationally famous,
Mhm.
but they're out there working and they're out there killing night after night. And people walk away going, man, that was funny.
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing here in this town performing?
Exactly.
It's like,
Exactly.
and I'm like, hey, you got a stage, you want me, I'm here.
Right.
That's
And
my response. It ain't because Hollywood ain't called me, it's because you want me here and I'm here.
right. I found, I said bitter. I'm not sure I ever really got bitter, but I got frustrated early in
Mhm.
my career because I felt I wasn't moving along. I was doing too many one-nighters, and I wasn't, my career money wise and all this stuff. I was killing
Yeah.
in a lot of places, but
Mm.
then I realized, what? I can be frustrated and not happy and do this, or I can say, fuck it. I'm going to do this because I love it, because I enjoy it, and I'm just going to be the best that I can be. And that's going to have to be enough. And then whatever
Yeah,
happens.
exactly. And that's the way I feel.
Yeah. And I got to the point where it was either, what, I'm not happy doing this. So either quit or be happy with where you're at.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and just I just made sure I continued to enjoy my writing, the craft, the fellowship,
Yeah.
enjoy myself because I've been very fortunate. I had some people reach out to me to work with some big names,
Yeah.
and I'm not looking for them to change my life. I just enjoy that experience for that week.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like that was good. Like people still could think about me, and that when I had a great week with Earthquake or something like that. Like, okay, that was
Sure.
fun, and I
Yeah.
can go back home and be like, like I get the little spots here and there. But as far as wanting anything, and that's what woke me up because I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, man. I in '08 when I got that epiphany that I'm not gonna let anybody wear me out. I don't just, you know what I mean? I got my epiphany. I clashed with the club owner out of Albuquerque, and he said,
You too. Let's not mention any names.
"Yep." And
Yeah.
he said some things to me that made me, especially being a young buck. You're still not securing yourself yet.
Right.
I'm hearing some things, and then I just like because I got double booked. It was my fault.
Right.
I'm
Sure.
already there on Wednesday.
Right.
And then you tell me, no, I didn't book you. It was a double book. No, I'm like, and then you saying some other things that you don't have no business saying to me. Just let me know you double. And then and at that time, I was living in Medford, but I still had one of my best friends in Arizona who I was roommates with. And I said, I got to come chill with you for a little bit, then come back to Albuquerque. So I came to stay with my buddy. And while I was there, I just like shut it all off and just spent time doing just like going for walks, little things like that. And I just started the process and thinking, I was like, I'm done. I'm done because a lot of things start coming up for me, meaning like being the best father I can be.
Right.
Who else, like gosh, like, I've been in this game since 97 and a lot has happened, a lot has done. Like I don't give a fuck about Hollywood. I don't care about all that. All I want to do is do stand up
Right.
because of Eddie Murphy, Tommy Davidson, Damon Wayans. That's what I came up with. And it was like, so I just said, I'm done. And I finished my obligations on my calendar and stuff like that. But I just was like, I'm done. I'm good. And then I think and the weird thing about it was I truly felt like I'm done. Like I was okay with running Chadwick's. That was cool, right? Running that, and that was cool. Then I went out there and got me a couple of part-time jobs and just been excited to be back out here in the workforce with all these people. It's like, working at a factory, Harry and David, which is a fruit and candy place, and this factory, you got all, I was just enjoying it, man. And so that was back, like I said, like in '09, right? And then probably like 2013, then I went back out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it was because of BT.
Okay.
He
Okay.
said, get back out there. They need you.
That's
And I
interesting.
was like, okay, let me give it a shot. I haven't talked to no club bookers or nobody since probably '07 when
Uh-huh.
I booked or wait, maybe. And I reached out to, because by that time I've uh I've attracted a career in mental health and I was going back to school. So I'm pretty secure financially. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? I got health insurance.
There you go.
So if anything happened to me out there, boom, hit him with that health insurance. So I decided to go out. So I hit up the Lonely Men Common Club owner, and he has 4 clubs, and I felt like that's all I needed just to get back into. And I went out there and did 2 clubs, and he co-headlined me, which I really appreciated, and it felt good. And Leif, this is a crazy thing. You go back to places that you've been to 20,000 times. But that time when I went back after that year layoff, I'm sitting in that condo and the other comics are having their conversations, doing all that. And I just realized how different of a man I am now and how this all feels different compared to a
Yeah.
few years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sitting there like, man, I'm so relaxed internally. I'm not worrying about any merchandise. I'm not worrying about any gigs and things. Like I'm sitting here enjoying these guys. One was from Colorado, the other one was from Florida, and we became boys that week. You know what I mean? Just enjoying myself. It was like, and it felt so good.
Right. You had some financial security, and you had gone through the process of surrendering to where it's like,
That's it. Yeah, and that was a conversation actually. Me and my girlfriend Jessica was just having in a book she was reading about surrendering. You
right,
know what I mean? And so, and I just loved it because I was told like, man, I'm over it. I don't care. But when having keeping in touch with BT, he was planting little seeds, and I was just so grateful the way I came back full circle. You know what I
right,
mean? The way I came back full circle, and it was just like since 2013, 14, when I started again, I'm enjoying it so much more.
right, right, and it
I'm,
shows.
I'm,
It
I'm
shows.
yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And what I've been able to do is like one of my buddies told me, and you might know Alvin Williams,
Mm-hmm.
my little brother. That's my dude. I love that dude to death. He was saying, it gets a point in your career when you're able to give back. You know what I mean? And so Chadwick's was one of those I feel like, well, I didn't even realize what I was doing when I started Chadwick's. Like people just love that place. You know how packed it get.
Yeah, and let's mention that. Let's give them a plug because the comedy's still going on at Chadwick's.
Yeah. So hopefully we can so once we can get some more movement in Oregon, because we only got 25% capacity allowed.
Is
And
that,
you
is that, is
check,
that the deal right now? Okay.
yeah, they gonna work. So what I've been doing, man, like prior to COVID, California's Little League Baseball, I was booking their annual fundraisers at theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I was booking Wairika, 400 seater. I was booking Reading, which was probably 500, something like that. So, but COVID shut that down until, but I know it'll come back,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I started like even recently now, I got other venues that are ready to make moves, and 50 people it will pack these venues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people are wanting to come out and laugh, have a good time. They will give over their car to me just to come to the show because I just want to get out the house. Let me sign my car over to you. Please just get me out the house because it's there now. So I'm finding myself able to do so much in Medford, and because it's only so much you can really do financially for guys because I ain't gonna try to bring no dude from New York out here. You know what I mean? But if you pass it through, or if you in Washington, Portland area, somewhere in Oregon, and maybe even California, Bay Area, something like that, it's worth coming out here to do some of the stuff that I'm putting together because people love comedy out here. And when I post anything, any little show that's happening, it's selling out like that.
Yeah. And I think you're right, especially now with the COVID thing finally starting to taper off. I just did Jokers in Richland this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that came out, I mean, they were just so happy to be out. It was just such a great show. They were just totally into the comedy. There's no BS. It was all about, hey, we're here to see a comedy show, and we're really here. But I just wanted to mention Chadwick's. If you're in Medford, if you see this and you're in Medford, and every Friday and Saturday at Chadwick's,
Road Regency Inn Hotel. Yeah.
Say that again.
Inside of the Road Regency Inn Hotel.
Road Regency. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And get you a room, get you some good food.
I'm not paying for it, but yeah, they can do that if they want. Yeah.
Exactly. You're not paying for it. It's on him, by the way. So
But yeah, it's a great hotel too. So yeah, so that's where I've seen you, and I know every great once in a while you're not there when I come through.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're out working somewhere else, but that's your mainstay, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I just took it on. I took so much responsibility to make sure that you guys felt good about being there and the crowd felt respected, taken care of. So I made a point because you know how I police the room.
Yeah.
And I would kick people out, and I didn't have no problem doing it because it's just like I've been through that, and ain't no way in the hell I'm gonna have my boys go through that at a place that I'm responsible for. I'm not gonna sit back and just look like it's like, no, I'm not having it. You can go. 'Cause I tell people, like I tell the crowd, I'm never hurting for a crowd.
Right.
Your $10 can be replaced.
Well, yeah, and part of the reason for that is that you do run it right. You do kick people out that disrupt the show, because that brings people that want to see comedy to the show,
Or
and
it keeps them away.
and it,
Yep.
and it keeps the other people away.
Yeah, exactly. And they can be mad at me and talk shit about me, but it's like, trust me, your $10 can be replaced just
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. To me, it's like pulling weeds. If you don't pull weeds, they're going to take over the garden.
That's it. Exactly.
Uh,
Hmm.
I don't want to give the wrong impression here. You do it. You know how to handle it. You know how to handle it in a way that you let the crowd know what's going on, but at the same time, you don't come off as a jerk.
Yeah, because what people do, people appreciate that I have a voice and I use it. They
Right.
appreciate
Right.
people sitting back who just watching something happen. They wanted to stop. They really appreciate it. And if I get cussed out or somebody wants to fight me, people will stand up and put up their dukes for me.
Yeah.
Because it's like I don't deserve it. You're the wrong one. You get out of his show.
Right.
You get out of his show.
And ever since we started talking, I just wanted to make this point that a lot of people don't appreciate how important the MC spot is, the
Yeah.
host. And in this country, it's not the same everywhere, but in this country, it's been traditional to put the least experienced comedian as the host,
That's the truth.
which,
Yeah.
which is the polar opposite of what I believe you should be doing.
Yes.
Because
Exactly.
the host runs the show, controls the show.
Exactly. Because if you go back and think about Def Comedy Jam when it first came out, Martin Lawrence was the host.
Right.
And Martin Lawrence was a beast. He
Right.
was strong. He
Right.
just brought it, and he brought up the future stars, Bernie Mac, the Chris Tuckers. He introduced them to the stage, but he was so like a beast, and it's just like you're right. You can't have a newbie, a young buck, a green kid on that in front of that to take that, and then if the crowd don't like you, they'll turn on you,
Yeah. And then,
and now
then
you
the,
showing the
then the
whole.
middle act's got to start the show all over again, and hopefully build it up so the headliner doesn't have to deal with it. It
Right.
it's ass backwards, and yeah, and that's another reason I appreciate Chadwick's and the way you run things.
Yeah, and then if the feature does get in the hole,
Right.
you have an experienced guy who can come back and bring him back up, so you can close strong and feel good and not dig out of a hole.
Exactly. That's
Because
exactly
that's because people don't realize. Because I'm a student of comedy still, and
yeah.
I'm watching everything that happens, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I don't want any of the comics to feel like I'm critiquing them anything, but I just got to watch the room because
Right.
if it's all about what you're doing, that's gonna determine how they respond or how they check out. You know what I mean? So I'm looking around and I realize, okay, they're not as engaged, and now I gotta police the room to ask them to keep it down because they checked out due to alcohol and
Right.
they checked out. So now I gotta I gotta ask them to keep it down. At the same time, they was like, well, he's not funny. And then I get defensive because you don't talk about my brotherhood like that. You can't do what they're doing. You go up there and do it then. You know what I mean? Did I find myself between like, whoa, don't talk about him like that because this is not an easy profession.
No, it's not, and maybe they're not funny because you're not paying attention.
Hmm.
Maybe you missed the setup, and the punchline doesn't work because you were too busy talking while he was setting.
Yeah, because you see Chadwick's packed every time you come through. It'd be
Yeah.
packed right. So what I had to start doing was start not allowing birthday parties.
Okay. Okay.
because you're not coming for comedy.
That's
You're
right.
coming to celebrate your birthday.
Oh man, I tell you, and
You're
I
respecting
worked at
people.
a club once where they, in the middle of my set, they started singing "Happy Birthday" to this person, and it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Exactly. What the fuck just happened? I mean, sitting there, you on stage, all of a sudden they get together and you see flashes. Like, what are you doing?
Right,
You just can't take pictures, birthday pictures right now. And then the people next to them are offended because they now they're blind. They're just trying to watch the show. And I'm just like, what are you doing? And they so oblivious. Is and I tell people it's called etiquette. You don't have comedy etiquette. You don't, because the birthday parties were brought you out for a party. They didn't say, "Hey, we're going to Chadwick's and watch comedy." You said, "We're going to celebrate my birthday at Chadwick's."
yeah, during a show, you know,
Exactly.
we're going to the movies and we're going to sing "Happy Birthday" right in the middle of the movie.
Can I put can we cut the cake? No, not now. Like,
Wait till the show is
like,
over.
yeah, it's like no, and it's like because they don't have the etiquette, and then especially once that alcohol kick in, you are oblivious to anything that's going on.
All right, so
And
you ban birthday parties outright?
yeah, I just said, and then what I want to know, because I say, okay, you got 10 people, okay, that'll work. I don't mind 10, but you're not going to have, because some people wanted reservations for 20,
Right,
but it's for a birthday party. I'm like, no, no.
right.
Like when I would check the books and look at reservations, and the bartenders, bless their heart, only one of them really knew how I rolled, and he wasn't sure. He was like, "Well, I can't guarantee you what when Carl gets it, he'll call you and let you know because he knows like a party of 20, 25 for birthday party, like, nah, it ain't gonna work because
Right,
that's predominantly a bunch of energy that would have nothing to do with the show. It just be
right,
about this. So
right.
they respected that Chadwick's didn't, because they weren't gonna lose any money. They weren't losing the money because the cover charge, they made money off that great food and them drinks.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but if you start allowing that kind of thing, you're going to lose the comedy fans. They're not
Yeah.
that.
And some of them were felt that way. And then I had to talk to them. Could I build, because it's almost like I was a politician.
Yeah.
I knew everybody.
Right.
I would go around and shake hands and hug and say, "Hey," and then even if I see you out, I don't remember you, but I know you remember me, but I got to pretend like I do because, because I truly know, like, you truly appreciate me and appreciate Chadwick. So okay, let me really fake this. Bring it in.
Funny you
Bring
should say
it
that.
in.
I mean,
Well, how about a hickey? Let's go all out. Let's go.
you meet so many people. It's like, it's like they know you, but you may not remember them.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it is like being a politician. That always cracks me up. When you see when you see it in movies and TV shows and stuff like that, the politician always has the assistant. Okay, now this is Bob. He owns play Bob, 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 Bob. And then, oh, hey, Bob, how are you?
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Yep. Yep.
But we fake it because we don't have an assistant standing next to us.
Yeah. Yeah. No PR.
And they're all good people. They're all good people. So I mean, it's like you have to give respect.
Yeah, because a lot of people who I've come across has thrown bones my way. They like, "Hey man, I got this person that wants to do an event, but you might like, oh yeah, you know what I mean?" And next thing you know, you're sitting down and they like, "So how much you want?" Oh, okay, you know what I mean? So it's just so much opportunities out here just to do things. Like I remembered I got because they saw me at Chadwick's. That's how I got the California Little League Baseball
Right.
fundraiser. And because they saw me at Chadwick's, that's how one of the biggest clinics in Oregon asked me to book their Christmas parties.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, and character goes a long way. I talk about that all the time. You can be funny, but be a dick.
Right.
And nobody knows it until you get off stage how much of a dick you are. And they know your character, like you on stage, yeah, you're funny, you're doing this. But when you get off, and you're a dick or whatever, people pay attention to that. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
people respected my character and what I was about. And I'm like, cool, that opened up doors to do other things, with comedy.
Yeah. It's like anything else in life.
Yeah, exactly.
So it really good talking to you. Is there anything you want to talk about that you've got coming up or
Well, just tell everybody go check out my Facebook page,
yes.
Carl, Facebook.com/Carl Lee. And I got a podcast,
Okay.
and I got a couple of my buddies out here in Medford, man. And it's called Heckle Proof. Uh, we're going to be releasing our episode soon. We're going to be releasing on Facebook. Heckle Proof is going to be the Facebook.
Send me the link. I'll put a link to your Facebook page
Yeah.
in the comment section. Send me any links you want me to put up, and if you don't mind, I'll use some short clips of your
Do
YouTube
it.
stuff. Is that cool?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, do it.
And if you think of anything else later that you want me to add,
Okay.
let me know, and I will do that.
That'll work, buddy. Thank you for thinking about me, man. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, well, you're the man. I got a lot of respect for you, man.
Thank you. Likewise, man. Likewise.
Yeah.
And tell your sister I said hello. I think
Well, you can tell her yourself. She's watching right now.
What's her name?
Ann.
Hey, Ann. I want to thank you for being your brother's critic. And I know that, and I'm not feeling my sweetheart Jessica's mine. I'm gonna tell you, man, she has, me and her been together 5 years, and she's seen me do every show from a hole in the wall bar to a 800 seat theater. She's seen it all. And so having her become such more sharp and understanding the way the game goes, whether it's the feature act, middle, although she just so smart and picking up on it. And so she's one of the reasons why I stay sharp too.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna have her sitting there getting tired of my ass.
There you go.
Yep. So she keeps me going. But I like, the fact that your sister is in on that, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, me too. I really appreciate her support.
Yeah.
And you're an inspiration to me, man. Because
thank you.
Yeah, because I'm always impressed. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You've always got new stuff, and you're always funny. So
yeah,
God bless you. Yeah.
And the love, I got that love, man.
Yeah,
like never before. You know what I mean? And so it just keeps growing and gets, you know what I mean? So it's like, phew, it's just a beautiful feeling to be able to come from the place I come from, which is like it's just like I'm feeding it, the proper things it needs to grow. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
Hey, man. Hopefully I'll get out there soon. Again, I haven't been to Chadwick's in a while. So hopefully we can talk again in person, and I'll bring my camera too. We can do a follow-up.
There we go. Exactly. I appreciate that, man.
All right, man. Take care.
See you.